Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, call halal Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rekakwadash. Double honors go out once again to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who, through the Holy Spirit, continue to be out there on the highways and byways and deliver this truth. All right, this is Naaman with the DC Camp. And as you can see, yep, today was that day. All right, although it's winding down now, thought I'd do this video. And the title thereof is from Upworthy. It says Thanksgiving is a day of mourning to indigenous people. But, of course, here in America, it's been turned into a so-called holiday, a day of celebration. A celebration of what? The wholesale murder and slaughter of the indigenous peoples? What kind of demon would do such a thing? Well, we know that demon is the American Edomite, that prideful, boastful piece of shit, all right? That prideful demon. All right, anyway, what I'm going to do first is show you this little video, all right? Just to show you, this is, of course, the women, and they get it in, I got to admit, all right? While this is still up, salaki, while this is still up, okay, because you know Esau, so let me go ahead and play this. Yeah, that's right. Turn that shit over. But you notice what they said at the end, and this is very important. This is what we're trying to get our people to realize, all right, uh, when she thanked her elders, all right, and that's a good point because uh, let's go to Job 8 and 8. This came out at camp last night. It says, "For inquire, I pray thee, of the former age, and prepare thyself to the search of their fathers." All right. And now that a lot of our people are waking up, that's very important. All right. Uh, yes, and that's going to, in fact, be my next video. I don't want to jump, ahead, but heritage is such an important thing. That's why this devil tried to erase it from them. All right, with his boarding schools and things of that nature, and all the abuse that happened in those schools. All right, but again, that's another video. It says, trigger warning. This story contains themes of genocide and violence against Native Americans that some readers may find distressing. But see, here's the thing with Jake. Now, on the way back home from camp last night, this old Judite woman, I suspect she was in her early to, well, just in her 60s. and her and a couple other women, I think, but she was seated directly behind me, and she goes in about preparing, you know, so-called Thanksgiving dinner and all the things that they're going to do, and she brought up chitlins, and I'm like, no, 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 no. And you know, you try to tune certain stuff out, but they just kept going on and on. You know, uh, see, our people all caught up in this bullshit. All right, not realizing, all right, what the hell really is going on. All right, this is nothing to celebrate. And chitlins, damn, that slave food. It says there definitely was no mashed potatoes or pie at the first Thanksgiving, but still remains a core tenet of the holiday now. Much like the pie and mashed potatoes, the celebration of peace and prosperity shared by Native Americans and pilgrims is, if not a myth, at least a half-truth. No, it's a lie. All right. He said there are two sides to every story. The ones the English settlers have passed down over the years is that they landed in 1621 and met with the Wampanoag tribe, leading to 3 days of feasting and Thanksgiving in 1621. The other side doesn't remember the story that way, but it's that version that's become mainstream and become synonymous with the holiday. In America, okay, it says Native Hope, a group that aims to address the injustice done to Native Americans, says English settlers robbed Wampanoag graves and stole food from them in order to survive during their first years on this new continent, before eventually unleashing violence and carrying out genocide because that is their nature. And this has been proven, all right, as time went on. This is how Esau Edom gets down, all right? And then he, because he controls the literature, all right, the press and all this, he weaved his web of lies, all right? But he's being found out now. These things are this is the Most High's doing. These things that, well, let's get this scripture here. These things are coming to the forefront because it's time for this man to be brought out of power because he's the wicked. This is Isaiah 25:7. It says, and he will destroy in this mountain, all right, this government, this whole setup, the face of the covering cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations. Because at one time, America, the so-called white man, could do no wrong. He was looked up as a demigod, you know, and that's, you know, Most High setting him up. He doesn't realize, so he can pull him down, just like he did ancient Pharaoh. All right. It says, for many Native Americans, Thanksgiving is a reminder of the genocide and the resilience of Native people, like they were saying there at the end. They were thankful that their culture was preserved. He says Native Americans are not a monolith, and every tribe has its own past and takes on the holiday. While some view it as a day of mourning, some share a meal with their family and recall the history of their ancestors. All right. For a majority of Native Americans, Thanksgiving is a dark chapter in their history and view it as the day settlers came to their land, eventually leading to genocide and other forms of violence. And this, for the most part, was overlooked, especially when it was taught in schools. All right. They just painted it as, ah, yes, we came over here. We were all righteous. All right. We helped these poor savages. You know, not quite in those words, but, you know, that's what was implied, you know, because we're so superior, when in actuality, they alluded to it early in this article here. They were destitute. They didn't know how to survive here, and these people, these so-called savages, taught them how to survive. And how were they rewarded? That's why we're doing this article, doing this video here. It says, to most natives, Thanksgiving is not a celebration. Natives, particularly in the New England area, remember this attempted genocide as a factual part of their history and are reminded each year during the modern Thanksgiving. Just rub it in their faces, you know. All right. Thanksgiving Day is a reminder of the genocide of millions of Native people, the theft of Native lands, and the relentless assault on Native culture. Skip forward from 1492 up until 1866 with the Dawes Act. I encourage you to read that. All right, now there was a whole lot of murdering, rape, robbery, and murder. From that time, you're looking at roughly 360 plus years. All right, well, 360 years, but they really rubbed it in with the Dawes Act. That's some fucked up shit. All right, they did it on paper. Uh, anyway, going back to this, it says, let's see, participants in National Day of Mourning honor Native ancestors and the struggles of Native peoples to survive today. It is a day of remembrance and spiritual connection, as well as a protest of the racism and oppression which Native Americans continue to experience. Continue to experience. This shit was never over. It says the United American Indians of New England meet every year at Plymouth Rock on Coles Hill to mourn the violence and the sacrifices made by Native people. Native American people are also calling on Americans to not treat them as a monolith and wear headdresses and random robes to appropriate their culture to reenact Thanksgiving, which is particularly problematic in schools when small children are told the version of the settlers. Exactly. History. All right, that's their version of events. All right, now let's play another video here. They ignore willfully. Whitewashing. All lies. There you go. The fuck? See, and that's the thing, because she said something that was very important. First of all, let's go and get this word appropriate, because they like to soften things up, give it all these nice terms, but we want to get to the bare bones. All right. Appropriate. Number one, right here. Take something for one's own use, typically without the owner's permission. Let's get, I wonder. I wonder. Uh, Synonyms, you got seize, commandeer, expropriate, annex. That's another word they use. Uh, acquire, assume, take over, lay claim to. Here it is, steal. Uh-oh. Take another person's property without permission or legal right and without intending to return it. Didn't she just say that the Supreme Court agreed with them that this is still their land? Ain't that some shit? Let's get some more scriptures. Oh man, it's so much bloodshed that there's only one way to resolve this. All right? This is Numbers chapter 35, verse 33. It says, "So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it." But by the blood of him that shed it. All right? So that's called a blood debt. There's no amount of money, all right, that you can offer. And there's scriptures on that, because this devil thinks that he can just throw some money at you, all right, and everything's all right, all right. And there's even, when you go to Revelation 18, it tells you about this land being polluted, and what? With the blood of the saints, all right. All right, let's see. Wait a minute. Let's see. Yeah, okay. I didn't go down far enough, so like. All right, and this is Revelation 18 and 24. "And in her was found the blood of prophets and of saints and of all that were slain upon the earth." All right, now who are these people? These are not just everybody. These are particular people. All right, it's talking about Israelites, people. It's not talking about these people, so-called savages, Native Americans. They are the tribes of Gad, Reuben. All right. Let's see. Psalms. Because who are the saints? All right. This is Psalms chapter 148. All right. And 14 said, "He also exalted the horn of his people, not everybody is his people, the praise of all his saints, even of the children of Israel, a people near unto him. Praise ye the Most High Yahweh." So the saints are Israelites. All right. So that's whose blood has been spilled and continues to be spilled. All right. In America. America. All right. So let's go back just a little bit more. It says different tribes are finding their own way of commemorating Thanksgiving. Tribal citizen. I'm not going to go into that. You can read it for yourselves. It says Thanksgiving as the United States origin story leaves out painful truths about our nation's history. Presenting Thanksgiving to children as primarily a happy time trivializes our shared history and teaches a half-truth. Let's just call it what it is. It's a lie. Quit playing around, beating around the bush, and, give it the proper respect it deserves. It's an outright lie, an intentional lie at that. It says, what was this guy's name? Zoti, whatever. It's calling on educators to take responsibility and share the truth with students as opposed to parroting the settlers' origin story. And that's exactly what happened. All right, so I'm going to skip down this last video here. America's a stolen country.
America can stand back right now and watch as my own people attack some of our traditional people for believing in our own Lakota way of life.
The media often portrays us as like these sad, like poverty-stricken people.
There isn't that focus on who we are today.
We live on the poorest county in America. It's poverty-stricken. But just because we live in poverty don't mean we're poor.
Do you feel American?
Nah, I've always been taught we were Indian. We were Lakota first before we were anything else, before we were Christian, before we were American.
Okay, so I've just woke up in the Rosebud Reservation here in South Dakota. I'm on a beautiful ranch with lots of chickens and horses. I'm going to be spending a few days here, sleeping in people's houses and in the Pine Ridge Reservation about 2 hours from here. I want to find out what it's like to live here, but also how younger people can envisage their future and how they feel about modern day America as a Native American.
Around here it's kind of hard because all the drugs and alcohol.
So it's a very hard place to grow up in a lot of ways.
The majority of people that are working on the res, you either work at the tribal office or IHS.
Not much to do around here, and when you do find something to do, you usually have to travel 20 miles or so longer.
There's a lot of suicides and that kind of stuff.
People lose hope. I mean, they feel maybe oppressed.
We've all fallen as teenagers around here. We've all experimented with alcohol and things.
It's really sad to have alcohol here.
Damn. Among all ethnic groups, the highest rate of suicide.
One thing about these kids here is they're survivors and they're fighters.
This devil got a whole lot to pay for.
A lot of them are wanting change. They want something different. They want something better than our adults are leaving them.
We actually don't believe in the word Native American because Native American, it also has the word American in it.
They took everything from us. America's built on stolen lands. America is a stolen country.
We used to live with everything, and now we're on these little reservations and we're all clumped together, and we shouldn't be like that.
Like non-natives see us as these historic people with loincloth and headdress.
Because you see the Washington Redskins, you see the Cleveland Indians, you see all of that and it's a big joke, and you hear everybody knows the phrase drunken Indian.
We may live in this really rough situation, and it's very real, but that there's hope and that our culture is alive still.
I think it's important for us to have, for our young people to have role models and to see other people going out and doing big things and coming back to the reservation and showing them that there's other things that out there and this is what we're doing and you can do this too. too, you know.
Of course, there's high rates of suicide, alcoholism on any reservation, but that's because of the lack of ability to express oneself.
Hi, we are Scattered Around. I'm Scotty Clifford.
And I'm Juliana Brown Eyes.
Recently just acquired a record deal in Los Angeles, having fun. As much as we can do just to show children here at home that we really need to get away from the poor, pitiful, pissed off Indian.
All that matters now is what we do for ourselves.
Yeah, you have more than a right to be.
I'm gonna need you to do something, Sukala. I'm gonna need you to trust me.
This film is an opportunity to give, you know, our youth, our native youth, kind of these heroes and heroines to look up to, you know. I think that's something that I wanted when I was growing up, was to see someone like myself. You don't see a lot of native characters kind of leading in mainstream movies, you know, in big blockbuster movies. It's always usually it's, you know, a predominantly white cast.
I want to see our people thrive and not get caught up in what outsiders think we are, stereotype us as, but rise up and show the world what we can do, basically.
The thing to do, all right, is come to grips with who you really are, all right? You're not a Native American, you're not an Indian, all right? You are Israelites, all right? Oh, man. Like I said, this devil has so much. Let's see if there's any comments. I doubt it. Nope. Wow. Again, this has been article, Thanksgiving is a day of mourning to Indigenous people. Yes, it is. And I'm glad to see more and more of them waking up, all right, to that fact. All right, this is nothing to celebrate. All right, it's a travesty of justice in the worst way. Here you are forced to live on land that was taken from you. In fact, live on the worst of that land, all right? And people say, out of ignorance, well, don't they have these casinos? No, you don't understand nationality, bloodlines, that thing. I brought up the subject that I'd encouraged people to look into, and that was the Dawes Act, what they did. So you had, as a result of that, this term $5 Indian. And that gave the white man, all right, the chance to wiggle his way in, all right, on the Dawes rolls, and thereby acquiring land, all right, that was supposed to go through inheritance to the Gadites. All right, that's some slick shit. And of course, that pushed us out because, you know, he got a lot of people walking around that say that they're Negroes are actually Gadites and Reubenites, all right, because they don't understand, like I said, bloodlines. All right, and that was done, in fact, to keep us, again, from prospering, because we are all one people. See, this devil is slick. He knew exactly what he was doing. All right, that's something to get into. That's, you know, there's plenty of videos on that the apostles and elders have done. All right, that explains that. So hey, with that, yeah, this. I am so glad this day is coming to an end. This is one of these demonic holidays. So this one is about in the books, and the next one coming up is that demonic ass Christmas. So with that, hey, shalom, shalom.